You're watching Let the Quran Speak. Now we answer questions we've received from you, our viewers. And if you have a question yourself, please visit our website, www.quranspeaks.com. Okay, Brother Shabir, the first question is, why did God create mankind?
The simple answer that we hear from the Muslim pulpits again and again from Muslim preachers is that God created humankind to worship God. It cannot be the entire purpose, because we know that God does not do anything for sport and play or for frivolous reasons.
Mm-hmm.
He does things for wise outcomes. And we might ask, what's the wisdom in this outcome? God creates human beings to worship Him, and God does not grow any greater by being worshipped. Whether people worship Him or not, He's just as great as He has always been. Some Muslim thinkers celebrate a saying that is often traded as a hadith, as a report of the Prophet's saying, but its authenticity is highly doubtful. A saying which says that God says that He was a treasure that was not known, and so He created the creatures to know Him as that hidden treasure.
Mm-hmm.
There may be some truth to that saying, and not as an authentic saying of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, or of God, but as a way of thinking about the purpose of God creating human beings. That God was this hidden treasure, He wasn't known to anybody, and as this hidden treasure, and now He's created the creatures who would recognize Him as that hidden treasure. But that too is not a complete answer, because we know that prior to human beings, angels existed and they glorified God according to the Quran, and they recognized God as being holy. Another statement of the Quran says, وَلِذَلِكَ خَلَقَهُمْ, and for that God created them.
Mm-hmm.
And what was mentioned just prior to this is the mercy of God being bestowed on people. This verse has not been explored enough. It seems to me that this is a very important part of our answer about why God created people. The God created people to receive His mercy. It's as if God has an overabundance of mercy. He's ready to give it out, and He is creating creatures to receive that mercy from Himself. Now it all makes sense if we put all of these things together, that God created people to receive His mercy, but people are going to be different from angels in that whereas angels automatically worship God given their constitution, human beings are constituted differently so that they will have the freedom of choice. Some will choose to worship God, but some will also choose to turn away. And this very ability to choose to worship God means that when a person does choose to worship God, that worship of God is special and different from a kind of automatic sort of worship that would have come from a creature who had no choice.
Mm-hmm.
See, if we create something to do something in a particular way and it does it, then it's nothing special. It's no surprise, right? But if we...
So how does this relate to mercy?
Well, the way in which it relates to mercy is that God says in Surah 7 of the Quran that God has prescribed mercy, and He will give it to those who do these things. They pray to God, they give charity, and so on.
Okay.
So He created human beings to worship Him and receive His mercy through the worship. That's the avenue through which we'll receive that mercy. And ultimately, what He created us for is to receive that mercy. And at the same time, He has created us as conscious beings who will recognize the great value and worth of God as a hidden treasure. And that recognition itself is a greater part of the worship.
All right, okay. So now this is the flip side of the question. Why did God create evil?
Okay. Well,
Second
this
part
is,
of the same
yes.
question.
In fact, this is a question that has puzzled believers for millennia, and even the Greek philosophers had to worry about this question. And we'll never know the full answer to this until we go back to meet God. But it seems from our investigation so far that even evil has a certain purpose and does a certain good. For example, through the presence of evil, we recognize what is good. But one might ask, is it necessary to have so much evil? And we may say that some evil comes as a result of the free choice of of God's creatures. For example, Satan had a choice, and he chose to do evil and to lead other people to evil. And people have a choice to do good or evil, but many choose to follow Satan and do evil, and some people choose to do great evils. Then there are natural disasters that we refer to as evils, and some might wonder, are these even necessary? They're sometimes even called acts of God, because nobody else can be credited with such disasters than God's doing. And we may reply that perhaps God, by creating the universe in a particular way to produce human beings, had to create it according to certain natural laws so that the universe will evolve in a certain way and generate the sort of life that we know and which we are. And by creating it in this way, with these kinds of laws, you are going to have the resulting natural disasters. If God wanted, God could have created everything in a static and perfect way, but He can create things in a dynamic and evolving way, which would involve the possibility of these natural disasters. But they're well within His control, and He has a way of rewarding people for their sufferings in these disasters.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for your time, Brother Shubir.
You're welcome.
And that's all the time we have. For updates and additional information, please visit our website, www.QuranSpeaks.com, and write to us, because your comments and questions help guide the show. I'm Safiya Ali. For all of us here at Let the Quran Speak, thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.